Hello my friends, welcome to this video in which I will show you how to dismantle pallets. So there are plenty of videos available on YouTube, but you're very lucky today because you fell on the best one. I have already mentioned all the advantages of pallet wood in my video about how to make a move with your personal car. Pallets is an extraordinary source of raw materials for three reasons. It's for free, it's very abundant, and it's massive wood, which makes it quite solid. So a benefit I wanted to highlight here is that pallets are around you. In almost all the cities or even on the countryside, it's very easy to find, and I have a dedicated video for this. And that means that in case you need some wood, you don't need to go to the shop. And secondly, you don't need to spend money for a resource which is already around you. And on one hand, finally you will see it's not a big effort. And on the second hand, it's a very good way to avoid consuming the resources from the planet. Don't hesitate to watch my video about the sustainability impact of my channel. So that's why it should be becoming a routine element to take some pallets at the moment you are needing wood, and you have to become very agile. That's why have an attentive look at the present video. For today, I had to wait for weeks until I got the right weather conditions. That's not without reminding the long wait I had also for making my video about the general principles about long straight cuts. Very nice video I'm warmly recommending here. And that's a very good transition to the first element you have to know for dismantling pallets, which are the weather conditions. So there are two favorable weather conditions. The first one is that when it has rained a lot, so that the wood is coming very full with water, and that will facilitate to remove the boards from the pallets. So I'm living here in Belgium, so it's rather easy because I have lots of rain, so I'm leaving them outside, and when I have time, I'm dismantling them. But in case you're in the summertime, and fortunately there are more and more sécheresse, and this will not improve in case you're not dismantling pallets when you need wood. And there's another very favorable conditions, which is when it's cold outside, because then in this case it will be the nails retracting themselves, because metal is very sensitive to temperature. So the winter time is a very good moment for dismantling pallets. Now that I've said all this, let's have a look on the tools you need. Let's go. So the first thing you need is a good pair of gloves. As I've already shared in the video about how to make a hole in the earth of 1 meter depth without machine. When you're doing repetitive moves, you need gloves, otherwise you will have blister very quickly. And on the protection equipment, I also recommend noise protection. This will give you a lot of comfort when working, because in the end the hammer sound is quite exhausting. So that's why it's good, especially when you're doing plenty of them, to have the protection for your ears. So that's the transition to the next tool, which is indeed the sledgehammer, mini sledgehammer. The advantage is that it has a certain weight, it has a certain surface, which will avoid damaging the boards. One little comment about the way of using the massette, the mini sledgehammer. So everything is in the wrinkle here. It's not in the arm. It's by doing this movement like this. Then, no surprise, you see here the racking bar. That's the very common tool for this. But I've also purchased a nail puller, and I have to say that's very nice because it's thinner for accessing in between the boards. And then I have also a carpenter's hammer, and that's useful especially for removing the nails from the surface. So now let's start the work, and there are plenty of different types of pallets. I already made a mini class in another video, so don't hesitate to have a look at it, but here I'll be making it very short. So we start with this one. This is the very classical one, so it has 3 boards on the bottom, 5 boards on the top, and these ones are the easiest to dismantle. And then you have other types of pallets where there's a kind of beam on the whole length. Very often these pallets are double-sided. It happens that on this type here I have more boards on this side than on this one. And here it's a little bit more difficult to do because you have to remove on one side all the boards. And you will understand immediately why. So I recommend that you have 2 pallets, because you will see that you will be using the spare pallet for removing the boards from the pallets you're dismantling. Let's go for good now. So the first thing we have to do is to find a portion of wall on which we can place the pallet. And we're placing it upside down. So the first thing to do is to remove these cubes, so the lower part, so that we have an easy access to the other boards. And that's where sometimes it's good to have a nail puller, because you have to find your way in between the board and the cube. So little by little it comes. I have to say this one is super hard. Wow. So this one was super hard, so let's see the other ones. Okay, so when you have a cube staying like this, just hammer it out with a little sledgehammer. So before removing the boards, I'm just removing this as well. So the truth is that if you want to get back the boards, if you're taking the little sledgehammer, it will distort the nails. So that's why it's finally better to remove them with a wrecking bar. Now I'm putting this aside and I'm taking my spare pallet. This is a very nice pallet, by the way. It's in a good shape and it's with boards on all the width. Okay. And so now it's stable here and I can take the mini sledgehammer for removing the boards from this side. If need be, you can also take a cube. And now it's super easy. Sometimes it breaks, but don't worry about this because you have necessary things which will break. So here I have my boards and I can make a first selection to see if it's worth keeping them. Typically, removing the nails is a bit of an effort, so here this one is totally broken everywhere. So this I won't make the effort for removing the nails. So this one is a bit short, but it's not broken. Not totally, so I will keep it for removing the nails. That's it, my friends. So The pallet is now dismantled, and you could see the usefulness of having a spare pallet. That's it, my friends. This is the end of the first part about how to dismantle pallets. I invite you now to join a second video, which is showing you how to remove the nails from the boards and also how to handle the boards from which you could remove the nails, as well as some other little hints. So see you in a second on Happy Hour TV 1.